No one lives in Waverly. No one remembered building the dam. At least, not anymore. The official record said it was constructed in the late 1940s to tame the Black Hollow River and provide power to surrounding counties. But ask anyone in the region where materials came from, who designed it, or what was beneath it, and you get vague answers, blank stares, or, more often than not, complete silence. Locals just called it Waverly Dam. They didn't talk about the town underneath, because officially there wasn't one, but Erin Calloway knew better. She wasn't a conspiracy theorist or ghost hunter. Erin was a hydrologist, an expert in water structures, and she'd been hired by the state to investigate strange fluctuations in the dam's output. Something about pressure inconsistencies, uneven water displacement, and strange power surges in nearby towns. On paper, it was a routine assignment, but nothing about the Waverly site was routine. First red flag, there were no blueprints. The engineering firm responsible for maintaining the structure had only partial diagrams. No core layout, no full schematics, no digital files. The oldest paper records were yellowed and incomplete, and half of them were stamped confidential, redacted, with no department attribution. Second red flag, the town of Waverly itself. She'd seen the name in a single entry from 1927, an old census report listing a small town with a population of 347. But after 1930, Waverly vanished from all official records. No mention in state maps. No photos. No sale of land. No recorded floodings. It was like the town was surgically removed from history. Erin should have walked away, but something about it gnawed at her. Maybe it was a silence. Maybe it was the way even Google Maps blurred a patch of land near the dam like there was nothing worth seeing. So she took the job. And 3 days later, she arrived at the dam's inspection cabin with a duffel bag, a flashlight, and a backup battery kit that would later save her life. The cabin was perched on a hill above the reservoir, small metal roof, cold inside. Her only company was a government-issued laptop, a stack of old maintenance logs, and a binder marked simply incident reports. Waverly. The binder wasn't supposed to exist. Inside were dozens of sheets with smudged ink and incomplete statements. Only a few were legible. One said, "I heard bells from beneath the turbines. Not mechanical. Church bells." Another read, "Second diver never resurfaced. We sent him down at 11:42 p.m. We waited until 4:10 a.m. He never came back. His tether line was dry when we pulled it up." And another, "Do not descend below basement level 3. Erin closed the binder. Outside, the sun was setting behind the ridge. The water looked still. Too still. Not even wind lines on the surface. She plugged in her equipment and ran a diagnostic on the pressure turbines. The software returned a strange message. Inlet pressure, undetermined source. Flow rate, inconsistent. Predicted backflow, -17%. Negative backflow, that was impossible. Unless water was moving backward. She stared at the numbers. The turbines weren't pushing water through the system. They were receiving it, as if something on the other side of the dam was feeding water back into the structure. That shouldn't be happening. Erin clicked the internal security cam feed. For cameras inside the dam showed the usual: pipes, maintenance halls, generator rooms. Then she clicked cam 5, lower sublevel. Static, just flickering gray lines. But then, for a single frame, a figure, standing at the far end of the tunnel, dressed in black, motionless, barefoot, then gone. Erin rewound the feed, paused, Advance frame by frame. Nothing. The image didn't reappear. She closed the laptop, checked her watch. 2:06 a.m. She fell asleep fully clothed on the cot inside the cabin, clutching her flashlight like a lifeline. She dreamed of bells, of standing in water up to her knees, cold and black, of a town that had no sky, and of a name being whispered over and over by unseen mouths beneath the surface. Waverly, Waverly, Waverly. The next day, Erin requested access to the dam's maintenance tunnels. She expected resistance from the local supervisor, but to her surprise, the email was approved instantly. No questions, no security forms, just a short note. Use basement access door 3C. You'll need a key. Check behind the emergency fire panel. That felt off. Why hide the key? She found it exactly where they said, taped to the back of a rusted fire panel on the second floor of the inspection cabin. The key was old, iron, no tag. She took her bag, flashlight, and backup gear and made her way to the access door on the dam's west side. Basement access door 3C wasn't marked. It was set into the concrete wall, half covered in grime and moss. The key turned with difficulty. The hinges screamed. Behind the door, a stairwell, unlit, descending deeper than any modern dam needed. She counted the landings. 1, 2, 3, 4, and at the fifth landing, she found it. A metal gate, chained shut, a sign above read, "Property of the Waverly Town Council. Entry forbidden." What? Waverly had no council, no government records, no incorporation date. Yet this sign was new, the paint still fresh, the bolts unworn. She used her flashlight to peer beyond the gate. What she saw made her breath hitch. A tunnel, stone walls, lantern sconces on the sides, lit with orange flame, real flame, like torches, and at the far end of the tunnel, a doorway with a name etched above it, Waverly Town Hall. Erin stared to the iron bars, unable to move. Torchlight flickered against the damp stone walls. The tunnel beyond the gate wasn't just part of some old infrastructure. It looked lived in, maintained, ancient yet occupied. The flames cast long shadows, and something about their rhythm reminded her of breathing. Deep, steady, too synchronized to be random. She hesitated for a moment, then set her bag down and retrieved a pair of bolt cutters she brought for unrelated maintenance work. They weren't designed for heavy chains, but after several minutes and bursts of effort, the links gave way with a sharp metallic snap. The gate creaked open. The air shifted. Cooler, denser. Carried on it was a faint smell of river water, moss, and something older, like antique wood soaked in time. She stepped into the tunnel. Every footstep echoed. This wasn't part of the dam. This was something else entirely. The walls weren't poured concrete, but cut stone, ancient, time-worn. She traced one block with her gloved hand. It had markings on it, not writing, but etchings, curved lines that almost resembled maps, not of land or roads, but of patterns, circles within circles, spirals within spirals. She passed alcoves carved into the walls. Inside each one an item, a doll, water-damaged and eyeless, a pair of boots filled with dried silt, a rotary telephone, its cord coiled like a sleeping snake. None were labeled. All were positioned like offerings. Erin felt the pressure shift again. Time fell off. Her watch had stopped ticking. Her internal rhythm slowed, like her body recognized she'd left the ordinary world. The hallway opened. She stepped into a chamber lit by torches mounted in cast iron brackets. A cracked mosaic covered the floor. Depicted in its fractured imagery was a town, buildings, bridges, a river, and a dam being built not above the water, but beneath it. At the far end, a staircase led to an arched doorway marked Town Hall. She climbed it slowly. At the door, she paused. A ticking sound came from behind it, but it wasn't mechanical. It was wet, organic, like bone tapping against glass. Erin opened the door. The chamber was massive, and it was upside down. The floor above her, or what should have been the floor, was a black mirror reflecting a perfect inverse of the room. Benches hung like stalactites. A lectern dangled in midair, and floating, unmoving, was a massive brass clock face with no hands. Erin stepped in. Her boots tapped against a surface she didn't trust. Yet it held. The moment she passed the threshold, the door slammed shut behind her. A whisper filled the room. The council is in session. She turned. Where there had been empty air, now stood 9 chairs suspended from the mirrored ceiling. Each held a figure. Not corpses, not mannequins, but something in between. Their faces were made of white porcelain, blank, smooth, but each had a crack down the center of the faceplate. And from behind those cracks, something pulsed. Red, wet, alive. Erin couldn't move. The whisper returned. You have entered Waverly without offering, without name, without time. The water remembers. You must take the minutes. The no-hand clock turned slowly, and Erin's body began to rise. Gravity reversed. She screamed, but the sound was pulled downward away from her mouth. She reached for her bag. Her fingers found the notebook. She opened it. Inside was a message she hadn't written. Every dam holds something back. Waverly holds what time forgot. If you speak your name, they will remember you. If they remember you, they can keep you. Erin snapped the notebook shut. She floated closer to the clock. In its center was a keyhole, and around it, etched in delicate script, only the unremembered may pass. Erin hung in the air, suspended between the floor that wasn't a floor and the ceiling that reflected everything in reverse. The porcelain faces of the council stared down, or up, unblinking. Still, the pulsing behind the cracks in their masks beat in synchrony, as though the room itself had a heartbeat. The clock above her spun slowly, without hands, without numbers, but every turn radiated a deep hum through her bones. It wasn't measuring time, it was consuming it. She looked at the keyhole in the center of the face. What did it unlock? And why did she feel like the key was already with her? Her fingers brushed the notebook again. She opened it. Another new message had appeared. Ask not what they remember. Ask what they wait for. She whispered the question aloud. Her voice didn't rise. Instead, it fell, dropping down toward the mirrored floor like rain. The figures in the chairs stirred, only slightly, but enough. One of them, the tallest, leaned forward. The crack in its face widened. The pulsing inside revealed something slick. Wet. A single drop of water slid down the chin of the mask and fell, striking the air like a splash against a still pond. The entire room responded. The mirrored floor below rippled, not like glass, like water. And then it shattered. The gravity reversed again. Erin fell. Through the mirror, she hit ground hard, but not water. Stone, cold and mossy. She lay there gasping, her flashlight clattering beside her. The air smelled like soil, not damp but buried. When she sat up, she realized she was no longer in the council chamber. She was in a subterranean street. Buildings lined the narrow path on either side. Old brick, twisted wrought iron, hanging signs for shops that hadn't existed for a century. Merrow's Antiques turned as apothecary, ye old bread and bone. The streetlights glowed blue, dim, like moonlight filtered through deep water. She walked slowly. Every window she passed reflected not her, but someone else. A woman in 19th century dress. A young boy in suspenders. A man with no face. Each one turned to look at her. Each one smiled. None of them moved. A sound rose behind her. Footsteps. She turned. No one, but a bell rang in the distance. Low, mournful, like it had been waiting to be heard for a very long time. She followed the sound. At the end of the road stood a church. Half sunken, leaning. The bell tower cracked open like an egg, but the bell still rang. She entered. The pews were filled. Every seat taken by statues. Stone figures. Men, women, children. Their faces twisted in expressions of joy, pain, and horror, all staring forward. At the pulpit, where a man stood, alive. He wore a dark suit. Neat. Out of time. His face was familiar, not because she'd seen it before, but because it was hers. The man at the pulpit had her face. He smiled and said, "The minutes have been recorded. Now the water will rise." A sound began, not thunder, rushing, a flood. Aaron turned. From every window, every crack in the wall, water began pouring in, cold, black, endless. The statues remained seated. The man at the pulpit watched her. The water reached her knees, then her chest, then her mouth. Before she sank beneath, she saw the message carved into the altar. Remember U.S. and drown. Icy and silent. Not the roar of a river, but the weight of a lake that had waited too long. Erin's limbs went numb instantly. She tried to swim upward, but the concept of direction dissolved into shadow. Above, below, behind, it was all the same. She opened her eyes. No bubbles, no light, just infinite blackness, until she saw a shape, a glow, soft, below her. Down wasn't supposed to be safe, but in this place, nothing followed rules. She kicked toward it. Her lungs didn't burn. She should have drowned by now, but something held her in stasis, as if she were being remembered too strongly to die. The glow expanded. A window set into the stone floor of the abyss. Through the glass, she saw a room, circular, lined with bookshelves, an oil lamp flickering on a desk, and seated at that desk, her, not her reflection, another Erin, writing in the same notebook. The figure looked up, mouthed something. Erin couldn't hear it, but she understood. Let go. She placed her palm to the glass. The room cracked like ice, then shattered. She fell through. She hit wood, hard. Books tumbled from shelves. A lamp rolled off the desk and snuffed out. She lay gasping, coughing, dry, no water on her body. She was in the study from the vision. Same shelves, same desk, same book open on the table. Her notebook, but the pages were all filled. She picked it up and read. You have been here before. You left through the wrong door. Now you must return what you took. Erin's hands trembled. What had she taken? The answer came without warning. A name. Her name. Erin Calloway. She spoke it aloud, and the room screamed. Every book flew off the shelves. The walls twisted. The desk split in half. A wind howled from nowhere, filled with whispers. She remembers. She took a name. Unmake her. She ran through a door that hadn't been there before. Stone steps spiraled down. The further she went, the louder the voices grew, and beneath them another sound, a heartbeat, deep, slow, the dam itself pulsing like a living creature. At the bottom of the stairs stood a door, steel, bolted. Her notebook buzzed in her hand. New writing appeared. Speak what you don't remember. She hesitated, then whispered, I was never supposed to be born. The door unlocked. Inside, a chamber of mirrors, each one showing a different version of her. Some old, some young, some broken, some smiling, some screaming. In the center, a man made of water. No face, just ripples. He turned to her, spoke in her voice. Return the name and go. She looked at the notebook. The cover now bore no title. She opened it. Blank pages. She tore the first one out. Wrote, Aaron Calloway. Handed it to the water figure. He absorbed it and vanished. The mirror shattered. A door opened. Delight. Aaron emerged on the banks of the Black Hollow River. Morning mist curled above the surface. She turned. The dam stood silent, unmoving. No gate, no door, no basement access. Just solid concrete. Her notebook was gone, but in her hand was a single slip of paper. It read, You left with less. That is why you were allowed to leave it all. She looked around. No one. But the faint sound of bells echoed across the water, calling her back. She did not answer.